Let me call it June 26, 2024 code enforcement meeting to order. City, can you take a roll?
Chad, is it Cyber? I'm sorry.
Silber.
Silber.
Yep.
Raymond Butts.
Here?
Mark Marin. Jan Nepshield.
Yes, here.
Glenn Taylor.
Present.
Okay. Wait, Barry's got something he wants to hand out. Let's go ahead and, later on, okay. We got a couple administrative things to do. The first one is going to be swearing in of Chad Silber as our new member on the board. Bill, you,
I'm gonna raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I,
I,
Chad Silver,
Chad Silver,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and be faithful and true to the Commonwealth of Kentucky,
be faithful and true to the Commonwealth of Kentucky,
so long as I continue a citizen thereof.
so long as I can, so long as I will, sorry,
So long as I continue a citizen thereof,
so long as I continue a citizen thereof,
and that I will faithfully execute,
and that I will faithfully execute
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability
the office of Code Enforcement Board
the office of Code Enforcement Board
according to law.
according to law.
And I do further solemnly swear
And I do further solemnly swear
that since the adoption of the present Constitution,
that since the adoption of the present Constitution,
I, being a citizen of this state,
I, being a citizen of this state,
have not fought a duel with deadly weapons
have not fought a duel with deadly weapons
within this state nor out of it,
within this state or out of it,
nor have I sent or accepted a challenge to fight a duel,
or have I sent or accepted a challenge to fight a duel
with deadly weapons,
with deadly weapons,
nor have I acted
or have I acted
as second in carrying a challenge,
as second in carrying a challenge,
nor aided or assisted any person
nor aided or assisted any person.
thus offended. So help me God. Thank you.
you gotta memorize that for next meeting.
Yeah, it is.
All right.
You know, that's the biggest reason duels went out of style, because it was taking too much time to send the challenge, to read all that.
The next administrative item we have here is the approval of the minutes from October 18, 2023 meeting. And those who were present at the meeting, if you want to make a motion to accept them, or if there's any corrections.
I make a motion, we accept. I'll second it.
Got a first and a second? Take the roll.
Chad Silber.
Can I vote on this since I wasn't at the meeting?
Just say
No,
abstain.
abstain.
Raymond Butts.
Yes.
Jan Nepshield.
Yes.
Glenn Taylor.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Is there anybody, is appealing here tonight? Okay. Okay, so there's a few items that everybody needs to know what goes on at the meeting. First, the city of Newport will provide testimony pertaining to the case for discussion and questions by the board. Second, the appellant can provide testimony pertaining to the case for discussion and questions by the board. And third, any other person can provide testimony pertaining to the case for discussion and questions by the board, or they could be called up by the city. The appellant in the city will have the right to cross-examine any witness that testifies. After all testimony is given, the board will deliberate and vote on their decision for the case. The board's decision will be mailed to the appellant, and you will have 30 days to appeal the decision to the Campbell County District Court. Anyone that will be testifying during this meeting will be given the oath of truth. Also, when you testify, you must speak from the lectern up here front, stating your name and address, and limit your testimony pertaining to the case. So before we proceed, I'm going to administer the oath of office for anybody that would like to testify today, including the city. And I need you to stand, raise your right hand. If you're gonna be testifying, yeah, if you're gonna be testifying, raise your right hand. You can stand right there. Raise your right hand, okay? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you will provide to this Newport Code Enforcement Board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Okay. The first case that we have in front of us tonight is an appeal citation, citation 24118, Dynamic Property, 740 Central Avenue. City, represent the case.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
My name is Barry Shields. I'm a code enforcement officer. The west side of Newport is my coverage area. The address at 740 Central, as you can see in the pictures, the grass is pretty lengthy. This was not a matter of it being a day or two that passed before it was addressed or before I wrote the citation. Actually, I waited a week, pretty much a week, to cite it. I noticed it the week before, just before the weekend. Sometimes when I see something late in the week, I give it till Monday to take a second look at it because maybe they'll cut it on the weekend. So I returned back on a Thursday, and it had not been cut. We do understand that things happen. You know, people have lives, trials, tribulations, you know. Sometimes things are hectic. But one of the problems that we have in the city of Newport, and the city would strongly implore the board to take into consideration that we have a lot of landlords that do not live in the city of Newport, but they have property in the city of Newport. And I can bet you that their property doesn't look like property in Newport does. Some landlords. That's not a blanket statement, but we do believe that if you're going to have property in the city of Newport, it is your responsibility to put eyes on your property, period. And it should never be just about collecting a check. So, in their appeal request, they state that the person that manages the cutting of their grass had a death in the family, which, you know, there's no coming back from that, right? So you would want to have a little bit of understanding about that. However, it is their responsibility ultimately as the landlord to check their property, even if they have someone that's responsible for cutting it. And so the city does implore the board to consider this a just citation. Looking at the history, they do not have a history. But if we continue to just allow people to think that it's okay and ask for a pass, if they choose to not buy property in the city of Newport, that they are entitled to that feeling. But at the end of the day, a week went by that neighbors, myself, and other residents in the city of Newport had to look at the grass in the manner that it was in. So again, the city would implore the board to take this in consideration.
I went down by it today and,
It's cut.
you know, they cleaned it up, I guess.
They did, sir.
But, I didn't like the wording on their letter.
And they're entitled to that.
That's what
Yeah,
we
they're
could use
entitled to that.
for.
That is up to them.
Well, we can appeal them, they can explain why they want to say that, you know, so we find out what the appeal is gonna say. So at the time that you cited him, I mean, in April, we have a lot of rain. We know the reason why they didn't correct it,
Yes, sir.
but I guess once the weather was all right, and the grass is gonna really grow if you don't have it, if you're not cutting that grass once a week, or, you know, sooner than that sometimes with the rain and stuff.
That is true, sir, but there are other residents in the city of Newport that that's not a problem for.
Right. Well, I agree with you there. And I agree that you need to keep your eyes on your property if you're renting property within the city. And I don't have any other questions for the city at this time.
Yes, sir.
Anybody, any other board members?
Do you know, hey, Barry, do you know how tall the grass actually was? I see that 10 inches is.
It was
in
more than
excess
10
of 10
inches, yes, sir.
What,
But the reason I know that is because I actually measured it. Because I did want to be able to, when I gave him that window of time, I did want to make sure that when I wrote this, that it was what it was.
what is this, the city have a standard, how tall the grass?
10 inches, sir.
10 inches, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and when it's that tall, they consider that as a weed, even though it's grass growing?
I mean, I don't know that they consider, that is considered weeds, because, I mean, some grasses do turn into weeds when they get a certain height, but,
Unkept.
you know, it's grass or weeds.
Yeah, I'm just going by what definition of noxious weed is based on, the property maintenance code, and they refer that as both grass and the weeds
Yeah.
being too tall.
It could be either or, yes, sir.
Right. Okay, are there any other questions from the board? Thank you,
Thank you, sir.
appreciate it. Would the appeal like to address the board, okay? And address.
My name is Valerie Carlin Fry, and I am the owner of 740 Central Avenue in Newport.
Can I stop for just 1 second? I have a question for you. It looks like the property itself is actually owned as an LLC. Is that
I
correct?
dissolved our business for me to be here.
I'm sorry.
I dissolved our business. I filed paperwork to dissolve the business in order for me to be here because I contacted you guys and they said I needed a lawyer and we couldn't afford a lawyer, so we dissolved the business. I'm just an owner.
Is the property itself still owned by the LLC?
No, we dissolved the business
I understand,
altogether.
but did you guys, when you dissolved it, did you deed the property over to yourself
We
individually?
are, yes, we did. We're in the process of doing that, yes.
Has the deed been,
No, not yet.
technically the property is still owned by the LLC?
Until all the paperwork is fully dissolved, yes.
Correct. So it's still technically owned by the LLC.
Correct, but we couldn't afford a lawyer.
I understand that, but legally, when you own something, everyone has a right, obviously, to represent themselves, but you don't have a right to represent anyone else unless you're an attorney. An LLC, obviously, there's pros and cons to owning something an LLC, but one of those is that you're not the LLC. In fact, it's one of the reasons most people own property in LLCs to protect themselves, and I won't get into all the legal ramifications of that, but the one ramification then is because it's not yourself, you cannot represent the LLC.
Right. Well, when I called, all I was told was that I didn't need it to be under a business, so I dissolved the business, and I called also the state of Kentucky to find out, and that's what I was told, so I just followed what I was told,
I'm sorry, you were told what by the state of Kentucky?
that I needed to dissolve the business to remove the properties, so that's what I did.
Correct, but it's, once that's dissolved, the paperwork is finalized, including the property being deeded out of the LLC to you individually, that would then be the key.
Okay, so what do I need to do then?
I mean, for now, it's kind of a, for this situation, I don't know how we'll be able to do, dissolve it by the end of the night, obviously, but in generally speaking, I don't want to give you legal advice, because we can't really do that, but
understand that.
but insofar as the property is still in the name of the LLC, which it is, you can't really represent the,
Okay.
because it's representing Dynamic Properties LLC.
Can I reschedule my appeal then? Is that possible?
We have a couple options tonight. We can either reschedule it, or you can just base your decision on the city's testimony. That's up to you guys.
I mean,
I think if you get a citation like this and you own the property, you ought to at least have the responsibility to show up or call, let Tiffany know why you're not gonna be there, rather than putting this lady between a rock and a hard place.
well, she is the owner, but they had set up an
Yeah, I
LLC.
know, I know.
Okay, so,
If you're gonna set up that, you should know the way they operate.
and that's what she had found out, that when she contacted the city, that she couldn't represent herself, the dynamic, LLC at this meeting, but if she absolved herself from, so who, on the LLC, who was the chairperson in our?
I am, me and my husband.
You and your husband, okay, jointly? I mean, I'm willing to table, if we want to get a motion to table this and allow her until she gets all the paperwork stating that it's in your name.
Raymond, Barry wants to say something.
Okay.
We'll allow it.
Okay, go ahead.
Sir, you know, the city of Newport is not in the business of having a negative effect on people's businesses. And this young lady and her husband had to dissolve their LLC to be here. That's not what we stand for. So I would like to be able to void the citation and move forward, just make her aware of what's expected of her at 740 Central.
Okay. One caveat that I want to put on this, you're going to continue to get rid of the LLC and put it both in your husband's name, so if something happens like this again, then you be able to represent yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the contractor had a death in the family, like he said, and we have it on the schedule. Everything's taken care of. We don't have an issue, with the property, but yes, we can do that.
You know, this city's recommendation and the code issue, I'm willing to let the board put a motion and see if we can get that passed and handle it that way.
Yes, sir, it's my hope that the board will consider the city's request.
Okay,
Thank
thanks.
you, sir. Welcome.
Okay, what's the board feel?
I'm very willing to let it go.
Okay.
Lets it go. I don't know how to word the motion exactly.
Just make a motion that, based on the city's testimony, that the citation was recommended to be taken away or whatever, or you want to
You
use
can
that.
just motion to have the citation rescinded.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to have the citation rescinded.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay. Take the votes?
Chad Silver,
Yes.
Raymond Butts,
Yes.
Jan Nepshield,
Yes.
Glenn Taylor.
Yes.
Okay. Is there any other business before the board?
I just need you to sign right there. I'll keep those.
Were you going to explain that to the rest of the board members, the new form that you're using?
We can do that in a second. if you want.
Okay. Any other business in front of the board? Kelly, did you want to wait till after the meeting or to explain that form? Okay. So no other business before the board. Can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Also move.
So moved and second.
Second.
First and a second?
Chad Silver,
Yes.
Raymond Butts,
Yes.
Jan Nepshield,
Yes.
Glenn Taylor.
Yes.
Thanks, Derek. Thank you.